So students, we are dealing with the waves in continuation only. One lecture we already had on waves, introduction that it was. Now we want to talk in continuation only about the speed of transverse wave on a stretched string. As we have already done with the experiment on sonometer, or if I go with any musical instrument, when I pluck the wire in the string, stretched string, the waves which is produced, that is transverse in nature. It means up and down movement perpendicular to the propagation of wave. For that, this formula you can always verify dimensionally, that the speed of the sound or the speed of the transverse wave in the stretched string, that is directly proportional to the tension in the string, like we had for the sonometer, a stretched string, and the tension is always provided at one end. This way, when we provide the tension in this string, then in this stretched string, which is of course connected with the pulley, then the waves which are produced are the transverse wave. And the tension is provided by the weight which is suspended on this open end of the string. Tension is a force. So the dimensional formula for the tension will be same as that of the force, that is mLT minus 2. And here I can write inversely proportional to m or mu. Whatever symbol you can use, but here m is not mass, that is mass per unit length, or I may call it as linear mass density. So linear mass density means mass upon length, so m upon L. So dimensionally if I do write, I am getting mL minus 1. So if I put the dimensions of the tension and the linear mass density, I am getting mLT minus 2 divided by mL minus 1. And if you work out, of course, you are left with L2T minus 2, which is square root. It means by solving the square root, I am getting LT minus 1, which is same dimensions as that of the speed. Speed is also displacement upon time or distance upon time. So that is LT minus 1. So dimensions on the left hand side and right hand side are equal. So this formula that V it is equals to square root of T upon M or T upon mu is dimensionally correct. Now, if I say about the transverse wave, as we have already discussed, that transverse wave can travel through the stretched string or on the surface of the liquid. If I'm talking about in the solids, when it is having some modulus of rigidity, the another formula which you can write for the speed of transverse wave in solid is square root of eta upon rho, where eta is of course modulus of rigidity. Modulus of rigidity means stress upon strain. So it will be having the same formula of stress. So stress is your force upon area. So if you want to write the dimensional formula for eta, that is ml minus 1 t minus 2. And rho here is density. Density means mass per unit volume. So dimensionally if you are getting the value ml minus 3. Again, if you put these dimensions here and you work out, you will be getting the dimensions result with you LT minus 1. So it means both the formulas are dimensionally correct depending upon whether I am talking about the transverse wave in string or I want to talk in a solid where we are having modulus of rigidity. Now, if I talk about the speed of longitudinal wave, longitudinal waves, it means they can travel through solid, liquids and gases. Then in that case, if I am talking about gas, then in place of eta means modulus of rigidity, I have to take the bulk modulus of elasticity. So bulk modulus of elasticity upon density. The basically we have to see it should be dimensionally correct. When I talk about in solid, then the value of speed of sound it is equals to k means bulk modulus plus 4 by 3 eta divided by rho. And if I am talking about a solid thin rod, then it is equals to square root of Young's modulus of elasticity upon density. So modulus of elasticity, whichever I do take, dimensionally it is stress upon strain, dimensional formula is same. For density also dimensional formula is same. So you can always prove these formulas are dimensionally correct. And of course these are experimentally verified. Newton, of course you are aware of this name, very familiar scientist. It's given you so many laws. He has given the formula for the speed of sound also. But there was some in experimentally, if I go with Newton's formula, then it is giving me much error. So the correction was done by the scientist named Laplace. So this is a very important question, direct 3-mark question. It is that you have to write the Newton's formula for the speed of sound and you have to mention the Laplace correction also. So what it is that Newton said that when the sound is traveling through the air, then the conditions which are there, that are isothermal conditions. Of course, I think you are aware of that when I'm talking about sound wave traveling through the air, then we are having the compressions and rarefactions are formed. It means density is changing with the distance. And compressions and rarefactions are formed. Compressions are the areas of large density and rarefactions are the areas of small density. This I have already explained to you. Now, when he said that when compressions means air particles, molecules are coming close to each other, then heat is produced, but that heat is transmitted easily through the rarefaction, and as a result the temperature is remaining constant. So it means conditions are isothermal. So he said that when I'm talking about the speed of sound in the air or in the medium, then the gas medium it is, then I'm talking about the bulk modulus of elasticity, then V it is equals to bulk modulus of elasticity divided by the density. But this modulus of elasticity is working under isothermal conditions. Of course, you all can verify this formula is dimensionally correct. Now, if the conditions are isothermal, then according to Boyle's law, this equation PV it is equals to constant. Now, if I do differentiate, then first as it is derivative of second plus second as it is derivative of first, and derivative of constant is 0. So I can write this equation as P dV plus V dP equals to 0. Or I can say that P dV it is equals to minus of V dP. Or I can write P it is equals to minus of V dP upon dV. Or I can write minus of dP divided by dV upon V. This dP is change in pressure and this is change in volume. Change in pressure means this is giving me the stress and divided by strain, volumetric strain. So this is equals to the bulk modulus of elasticity. It means numerically you can see that bulk modulus of elasticity that is coming out equals to the pressure P. So it means in this equation, first equation, I can replace this bulk modulus of elasticity with the pressure P. Dimensionally pressure and modulus of elasticity are same. You all are aware of this thing. So I have replaced K isothermal by this pressure P, because this value is for K isothermal. Now at the standard temperature and pressure, I'm getting the pressure is 76 centimeter of mercury, or I can write 0.76 meter of mercury. Or I can directly write this formula for the atmospheric pressure, which is 1.013 times per 5 Newton per meter square. And air density that is equals to 1.3 kilogram per meter cube. So if I put these values of pressure and density here in this formula on solving, I'm getting speed of sound is coming out to be 280 meter per second. But the standard value, you all know, it is 331 meter per second. This is the experimental value which is coming after having the Newton's assumptions. So if I go with calculating the percentage error, I am getting nearly 15% error. And when we do the experiment in the lab, we say that if the error is less than 10%, then your experiment done is correct. But this error is coming more than 10%. It is coming out to be 15%. So it means something is wrong in making all these assumptions. So that is why we have to do the corrections. And as a result, because we got the error greater than 10%, so Laplace did the correction and he said that the assumption that conditions are isothermal is incorrect. Actually, the conditions are not isothermal, rather they are adiabatic. Conditions are adiabatic because gas is poor conductor of heat. And as we have discussed that when compressions and rarefactions are formed, heat is generated. And these compressions and rarefactions, they are formed so rapidly that heat is not getting any time to equalize the temperature. So the process is very rapid. So conditions are adiabatic. So it means you have to, it means when I write the value for the speed, then the bulk modulus of elasticity is to work under the adiabatic conditions. And for adiabatic conditions, you know the equation, that is PV gamma, that is equals to constant. Or now if I do differentiate, first as it is derivative of second, it means n, if I take derivative of x power n, or if I am taking u power n, then it will be equals to n u n minus 1 into du by dx. This is the formula which you know. So this formula you have to apply here. If I am taking with time, then that time multiplied with 0 on the right hand side will become equals to 0. So that I am not writing. Take derivative of v power gamma. Gamma is what? Gamma is a constant which is the ratio of Cp upon Cv. So gamma is a constant value. So gamma, like n is a constant, n is a number, that way. So I can write gamma v power gamma minus 1 into derivative of this v, dv, plus second as it is means v power gamma as it is derivative of v. Derivative of constant is 0. So I can rearrange this equation. I'm getting gamma p, it is equals to minus of dp divided by this v. If you want to, I have skipped one step. If you want to write, you can always write that step, that I'm getting gamma p, that is equals to minus v gamma dp divided by v gamma minus 1 into d. So this v gamma minus 1 and this is v gamma. If I'm taking it on the lower side or you take it on the upper side, then gamma will get cancelled and v is left. And so I can write this equation as gamma p is equals to minus of dp divided by dv upon d, which is equals to again modulus of elasticity, bulk modulus. But this bulk modulus I'm getting not equal to p, but I'm getting equals to gamma p. This is modulus of elasticity under adiabatic conditions. And the value of gamma for air under normal standard temperature and pressure, that is 7/5. That depends upon the specific heat at constant pressure to the specific heat at constant volume. So you can write this value for speed of sound, that is gamma p upon rho. Square root of p upon rho we have already calculated, 280 it was coming. So if I multiply it with square root of 1.4, I'm getting the result 331.3 meter per second, which is of course in agreement with the actual value, which is 331 meter per second. So very small error is there. So it means we have concluded that whatever correction was made by Laplace is in agreement with the actual value. So this way, whenever scientifically the things are done, they do make some assumptions, then they verify whether the results are coming in agreement with the actual value or not, and then only they decide. So it means this is decided now that conditions are adiabatic and not isothermal. Of course, this formula which you have to keep in mind. This is the final formula. It means with me for the speed of sound in air, that is V, it is equals to square root of gamma P upon rho. Of course, gamma is a number, it is a constant value. So it is not changing the results dimensionally, the things are correct, and it is in agreement with the actual value also. So this is the final result with you for the speed of sound. Of course, sound is a longitudinal wave. Now we want to discuss the factors which are affecting the sound, speed of sound when it is moving through the air or through any gas. So first heading with you is what is the effect of pressure? If I do change the pressure, then whether the speed of sound will get changed or not. This is the formula which we have just verified. V, it is equals to gamma P upon rho. Now, if I am taking the temperature is constant, then PV, it is equals to constant. Volume means mass upon density. So mass is constant, so it means P upon rho is constant. So P upon rho is coming constant if the temperature is constant. It means if temperature is kept constant, then there is no effect of the change in pressure, or I can say pressure will not change. So it will change only when the temperature is changing. Second point with you is what is the effect of density. So when I'm talking about the effect of density, I'm assuming that I'm making the sound to move through two different gases having the densities ρ1 and ρ2. Then the speed of sound in the first gas V1 will be given by the square root of gamma P upon ρ1. V2 can be given as square root of gamma P upon ρ2, and I can get V1 upon V2, that is equals to square root of ρ2 upon ρ1. It means inverse relation with the density. So if I'm having a gas which is having ρ2 is greater than ρ1, then of course V1 will be greater than V2. So on this you may get the numericals, direct questions that can be considered. On the same basis, I can see the effect of humidity because I know density of the water vapors or the humid air is less than the dry air. So speed of sound in humid air will be greater than the dry air because inverse relation is there. And very important with you is effect of temperature. This because we have discussed in the resonance tube apparatus experiment also. When I talk about how the speed of sound will change with the change in temperature, because we performed the experiment at room temperature and then we calculated the result at 0 degrees Celsius. So same way you have to know how to derive this formula. So if I am taking 1 mole of the gas, then density will be given by the molar m upon mass upon volume, or I can replace from the equation yours PV, it is equals to RT, which is the ideal gas equation with you, then V can be replaced by m upon rho. So P m upon rho, it is equals to RT, or I am getting P upon rho, it is equals to RT upon m. So in the formula which is there with me, that V, speed of sound, that is equals to gamma P upon rho. So P upon rho, I have calculated, it is equals to RT upon m. So I am getting P upon rho will be replaced by RT upon m, and so I am getting the formula for the speed, that is equals to gamma RT upon m, square root of this. So as a result, I can write gamma is constant, R is constant. So I can write that speed is directly proportional to the square root of temperature. And this formula we use directly in that experiment. So it means if I want to find Vt upon V naught, I can simply write it is equals to square root of 270 plus T divided by 273. At 0 because 273 Kelvin, and at T temperature it is 273 plus T. So I can rewrite by taking by simply rearranging this equation. Vt I am getting V naught into 1 plus T upon 273 power 1 by 2. Now this temperature, room temperature nearly 20 degrees Celsius, 30 degrees Celsius in summers. So this is coming out less than 1. Sorry. So I can apply the binomial theorem. So by applying the binomial theorem, I am getting it is equals to V naught into 1 plus 1 by 2 into T upon 273. So if you work out with the equation, I am getting, that is rearranging and equating the values, I am getting this Vt, it is equals to V naught plus V naught T upon this 273 into 2 means 546. So this change in velocities Vt minus V naught, I am getting 332 into T upon 546 because V naught, the standard value is 332 or 331. You may write. And as a result, I am getting this value is coming out to be 61 centimeter per second. This is known as temperature coefficient. It means if I am finding Vt upon V naught divided by T for 1 degree change in temperature, that you may write as the temperature coefficient. So this is the formula for the temperature coefficient with you. And if I am taking the temperature difference by 1, means T I take value equals to 1, then I am getting this temperature coefficient, that is coming out to be 61 centimeter per second. So velocity of sound in air is increasing by 61 centimeter per second for every 1 degree rise of temperature. So this is important, and directly also they can ask you to give you the temperature coefficient, or numerical can be there. Now if I talk about the effect of wind, then if a wind is blowing supposingly in any direction making an angle theta with the speed of sound direction, then the component of this wind speed can be taken. Like if this angle is theta, then component in this direction will be w cos theta. So resultant velocity of sound will be v plus w cos theta. Of course, if the wind is blowing in the same direction of this sound in which you are speaking, means theta is 0, then resultant velocity will be v plus w. If theta is 180, then resultant velocity will be equals to v minus w. So theta value can be given and you can be asked with the question. Of course, it means wind speed is going to affect the speed of sound, and you have to take the component in the direction of speed of sound. I take the effect of frequency, then it is independent of frequency. Similarly, it is independent of the amplitude. These are the various factors on which it depends your speed of sound. One simple question I have taken for you, that at what temperature, if I want to calculate, will the velocity of sound in hydrogen be same as in oxygen at 100 degrees Celsius? It is given in the question that density of oxygen is 16 times the density of hydrogen. So both the formulas on the factors we have to keep in mind. Speed is inverse to the density. Vh upon V naught, if I write, it is equals to square root of rho naught upon rho h. At the same time, if I want to write with reference to the temperature, it is, I can write Vt upon V naught. V naught is at 0 degrees Celsius. It is equals to 273 plus T divided by 273. These two formulas you have to keep it in your mind. This is one formula I've written. So if it is given in the question that at T temperature, I want to find at what temperature hydrogen speed is same at 100 degrees Celsius for oxygen. So this is by the question, these are equal. And if I write the value for Vt from here, I will be writing V naught into 273 plus T upon 273 for hydrogen. That is equals to V naught for oxygen and square root of 273 plus 100 divided by 273. And by the density variation formula, it is equals to density of oxygen to the density of hydrogen square root. And density of oxygen is given 16 times density of hydrogen. So I can put the value 16 upon 1 square root. On solving, I am getting 4 by 1. Now, so this is the equation which you have to simply solve mathematically to get the temperature. Okay, square root on both the sides is getting cancelled. So I am getting this square root on 16 and square root of this is getting cancelled. So I can write it like this. This equation is 373 divided by 273 plus T equals to 16. So you solve it and we will be getting the result for the temperature, which is coming out to be negative of 249.7 degrees Celsius. So this way you just solve more numericals. Keep things up to this for today. Thank you everyone.